Reality became colourless and empty when my entire existence was suffering. It was easy to forget that there was a world outside the misery. There was no comfort, reprieve, or solace to be found in this laboratory. I could feel my innards twitch and the dread boil over every time Laramac or Tillian paid me a visit. The sole emotion that stuck around was hatred, because I despised these alien bastards. While I mostly languished in despair, I would have occasional fantasies about what I wished to do to them if the tables were turned. That was humanity's deepest emotion, perhaps. I regretted having come to Jorlan, or joining the Space Force instead of taking a respectable career. All of the wonderful things that we discovered were a blip compared to this prolonged nightmare. I could feel my muscles atrophying, having not left the table for a single second. Time slowed to a crawl, with the only stimulation being torture, even when I was alone. I had nothing but my thoughts of what they'd done, and what they would do to me again soon. Maybe I could make this stop by giving up Earth, but no. I could give them false information. It wouldn't check out though, and then Laramac would make my situation worse. What if I'm holding on for nothing, because they've broken one of my squadmates? Or Mikri is going to betray us out of some misguided love? How has it not been 2 days yet? 2 whole fucking days. I wondered if the other human teams had avoided our fate and succeeded in storming the base. Laramac hadn't mentioned it at all, if we'd overrun his pretty little palace. My body fell into the restraints that held me upright, as I eyed the scalpel Tillian had left on the table with longing. I wished that I could break my fingers, blackened to a crisp, expose nerve endings screaming in agony, even once they weren't around, from the restraints. Then, I could end my suffering. Death was much more welcome than capture. This wasn't living. I had to make them kill me. As I almost slipped into sleep from exhaustion, the prince entered the room, hurrying to switch the camera on. "Well, Mikri, we haven't heard anything from you. Time is up. I'm going to beat him, and beat him, and beat him until Preston Carter is dead." "Good. Dead. Thank you, Mikri. Let him do it, you goofy tin can." I smiled faintly, loopy and delirious. Laramac didn't appreciate my unexpected mirth and swung a board to my head. I felt it flatten my facial features back, fracturing even the hardy human bones, pushing cartilage out of place. Wooziness took over my mind, and I scarcely noticed the tooth breaking loose in my own mouth. This would be the last time I'd have to feel this pain. As long as the Vaskar wasn't watching, it'd be best for everyone. I wouldn't be tested any further about whether to betray Earth, because I'd do just about anything to escape at this point. My heart sank as the radio clicked to life. "Tell me something else that I can offer you that'd be worth letting him go. There has to be more than just that which would help you. I'll give you anything I can, really, but I cannot give you what I do not have." "Someone else? Well, I do want you fucking chipbrains eliminated too," Laramac mused. "Capturing one of you is even harder than getting one of his kind. I can't knock a bot out." "Me for Preston. I turn myself in and you let him go. Then you still have the other humans and me to aid with 2 objectives. You'll be able to change my code, control me, tap into the network. Anything that helps you." Deal." I shook my head emphatically, despite how that worsened the disorientation and ringing in my head. "Mikri, don't do that! I don't want that!" "Shut up!" Laramac clubbed me with the board again, multiple times, which left me 2 days to offer more than a listless groan. "You'll come at once, Metalback, without any weapons, protection, or grenades to blow yourself up. We see any, Preston dies." "I understand," Mikri said in a flat voice. "I must see him before I... Where do I go?" "Do you think I'm a fucking idiot? I can't tell you where it is. You'll send in a rescue brigade." "I won't just let you take me anywhere or wait for me along some path. I will not leave my armor until I have seen him." "Go to the supply tunnel where he disappeared. I won't activate the charges that kept you back. The whole point of this is I want you alive. I see any human or robot bodies following you, I'll blow it sky high. And Preston dies. Don't get any bright idea to contact your network or call them either. The tunnel blocks all communications in or out. No trickery. All I want is Preston. I will only go peacefully if you do not hurt him any further. Fine, fine. You have 2 hours before I reinstate our original deal. Mikri, better hurry. My head was spinning like I was inside of a disco ball as I slipped to the recesses of consciousness. There were wisps of thoughts that floated from my head, though the waking world was dark and blurry. The last thing I wanted was for Mikri to give himself back to the slave masters that wanted to erase him, and his entire species. That was as bad as selling out Earth. Surely he wasn't foolish enough to walk into a trap alone, after watching me do the same thing. There was no way Laramak the Grifter would honor that bargain. I know Mikri cares about me, but he has no idea what he's doing. Assuming the prince did let me go somehow, does he think I want to just leave all of the other humans here? My Vaskar friend has no feelings on the rest of humanity, one way or another. He only didn't 100% sell out Earth because I'd never forgive him. You might have doomed my species just to save me, I whispered in an inaudible voice. Time was a strange animal right now, with one moment not following the next. How am I supposed to feel about that? An electric rod jabbed into my side, waking me with a painful jolt before I realized I dozed off, sizzling my flesh. Wake up. Your bestie is here. We're wheeling you out so your Silvershin can see you. I glanced over to see Tillian, alone. My heart dropped like a stone at the news that Mikri came. No Laramak? I'm watching from the eye in the sky, the prince chuckled over the PA system. If you dimension hoppers pull something, I won't be there. As I was rolled out of my laboratory room, I could see a wary Vaskar in a metal suit, with a telltale white heart on his chest. Mikri was trembling from head to toe, clearly feeling a lot of emotions. I was so furious at him for coming. I didn't want him to try to sacrifice himself for me. What the fuck was he doing? That android could live for millennia, much longer than the flesh in the pan my meaningless life would be. I tried to croak out the word, run, but I was too weak. I had nothing left. Preston, I'm sorry, Mikri shouted. I drew a shuddering breath. Go away. Remove your suit. We won't fry your circuits, we want you intact, Laramak stated. I was frantic, yet powerless to stop Mikri, as he removed the metal suit that protected him from their weaponry. The Vaskar's glowing blue eyes stared at me, while he gave his poor imitation of a frown. He whirled with distress after seeing my sorry state in person. Knowing that he was here because I'd foolishly agreed to let him go to a war zone, instead of pushing back, and now he was about to lay out on a cross without any fucking guarantees. It made me so despondent and livid. The pain cut even deeper. I felt disgust deep in my soul over how this was playing out. I felt as a friend if he thought that I would ever agree to or want him to do something like this. Humanity cannot lose him. He was doing so good at discovering his emotions and... Lie flat on the ground and let us chain your appendages, the prince continued. Mikri took a glance toward me. Then, you'll release Preston? Yes, just do it. The android complied after some hesitation, allowing an assistant to tie him up. No sooner than the chain links had been knotted and confirmed did Laramak break out in hysterics. Tears flowed from the prince's manic eyes, rolling down onto his brown fur. He pointed with a claw towards his camera sheen, with the growling cackles confirming what I suspected all along. Why had Mikri been so stupid? You idiot! Laramak chuckled. You actually thought... Oh, I assure you, your friend would not have done the same if he was in your place. Because 1, is brain dead. And 2, he doesn't fucking care about you half as much. I know that you know the human planet's location, but that's fine. I'll just pull it from your code now. Simple. If you must. Release Preston. Why? I have you already. Because you have what you wanted. If you do not honor your word, others of my kind will not make deals with you in the future. This is strategically inadvisable. There won't be others of your kind once I get a hold of you. And craft a virus to release into your little network. You signed the death warrant for both of your species. By the time I'm done with you, you won't even remember your broken organic. You'll get your happiness shining my boots and sticking the knife into him yourself. You know, I'll save him so he can see your cold, dead eyes extracting the maximum pain from his flesh. No, I would never hurt Preston. I would never hurt Preston. Let him go. Tillian, power off the chip brain and start running the accelerated version of the erasure virus immediately. Goodbye, Mikri. I shrieked incoherently as I was forced to watch the Askar scientist, who walked over to my restrained friend. Mikri shot me a desperate look and rolled away while Tillian tried to get to the compartment in his back. The alien called over several employees to help pin the android down. Watching them mind-wipe my friend, who I should have protected from this, was the worst torture of all. It awoke something in me that I didn't know existed. I could feel a deep torrent of fury bubbling in my gut, and a hint of strength returning to my broken body. It was a rush begging me to push, to break my body further. All of the metal bands wrapped around my body were thick, designed to hold a creature 10 times my size. So many times when I first was captured, I desperately tried to break free. Yet one last time I strained against them with all of my might, every muscle fiber on overdrive. I pulled my shoulders back and arched my back with an incoherent howl. The band around my waist popped and I corkscrewed my body, wrestling loose another one around my right wrist. When the first restraint went, the others became a bit easier to break, not having the same total force pulling me down. They all popped off one arm, which turned the alien's attention toward me. Ignoring the searing pain in my fingertips, I ripped off a band holding down my left wrist. I chucked it straight toward a scientist, who was rushing for a gun. My throw was at the speed of a fastball, impaling itself in his skull. Blood sprayed everywhere. I pulled my left arm free and bent over to unfasten my legs. "Help me!" I shouted at Mikri. The robot wiggled his arms as if to demonstrate he was still bound by his chains. "I cannot in this state." Cursing, I ripped off one thick leg clamp with each arm, then held 2 at once at the scientists. Tillian fell onto his backside as alarm bells howled through the speakers. He looked for some kind of gas switch meant to knock us out, but I had no intention of letting these fuckers put me to sleep again. I broke the final restraints on my legs, and now was free of the table. Still holding a band in my hand, I sprinted up to the Askar at my inhuman speed. Adrenaline gave me caveman strength from somewhere I didn't know existed. Shrieking, I stood atop the scientist who tortured me for days, and slammed the metal into the back of his head, over and over. I didn't stop even after Tillian's skull was nothing but blue paste, like it had been through a meat grinder. I didn't notice the cobalt liquid splashing onto my face and drenching my bare skin. The scorching sounds did nothing to save my rage, which burned over in an unthinking tide. I keeled over only as the adrenaline began to fail me, and crawled to Mikri with feral grunts. With the last of my strength, I snapped his chains with my bare hands, breaking the metal. The Vaskar stood and grabbed 2 guns, inspecting my wounds with concern. "You require medical treatment. I missed you very much, Preston. I did not like seeing them hurt you." I fell on the android, draping my arms around him and sobbing. "Don't you ever do anything like that again. I don't want you trading... Mikri, they..." The android pulled the trigger on his gun twice, shooting 2 staffers who'd rushed out with assault rifles. There are still more creative personnel in this facility. I presume most are staying to guard the prisoners. This is to prevent you from freeing more humans, as more super soldiers ensure their defeat. "Get back in your fucking suit before they fry you," I sniffed. We have to leave this place and get you out of here." Mikri trudged back into his metal armor, before trying to hoist me up with the added power of his exoskeleton. "You sustaining any kind of permanent harm is an unacceptable outcome." "I know, but we can't leave the others here. We have to help them. What was your plan even, Mikri?" As if to answer my question, a battering ram bulldozed through an exterior wall. Human soldiers, clad in gas masks this time, came charging for the newly created opening. The loud noises made me flinch, like it was the sound of a board cracking open my skull. I had such a dreadful headache, and I was having trouble remembering what I'd just said. I pressed a hand to my temples before my legs gave out altogether. A cluster of infantry rushed over to me, carrying me between them with their greater strength. "You 2, you're getting out of here! We'll secure the facility and take these fuckers down!" A soldier who sounded like an officer barked. "And for the love of Christ, medics, get this man some clothes and painkillers!" Mikri's expression suggested pride. "That was my plan. I attached an invisible tripwire to my leg and cut it before entering. It transmitted information back to the ESU, including directional data, so they'd find the facility. I had to try this approach before your soldiers arrived, due to their promise to kill you first if they saw humans coming.
I see. You did. Good,
I said in a blank voice. After that ceaseless ordeal, it was difficult to process the fact that I was free. It was as if the wires that told my brain I wanted to live had been shut off. The magnitude of the pain hung over me like a cloud, and I squeezed my eyes shut to try to focus on the positive. My future schedule wasn't booked by torture sessions anymore. I was still intact, on the outside at least, so I needed to take inventory of what pieces of my mind were worth reassembling. We'd come here to fight for the Vaskar people, like my friend who'd been so brave for me. It was my responsibility to be strong, and to pull myself together for him. These human medics would ease my pain, and then, maybe, I could tuck this all away in a box. It'd all get better. I stared up at the blue sky of the alien world, imagining that I was back on Earth. It had been so long since I saw a blue sky. The reason I had to keep going, even after everything we'd endured, was to ensure that our own still existed by this time next year.